Welcome to the Elegance Of Nae podcast. I'm your host, Nae, and on this podcast, we talk about a variety of topics with amazing stories. Let's get into it, shall we? Hey guys, before we start the show, we want to give our love and support to Grind and Hustle Youth. They are a mentoring program that help ages 15 and older with business etiquette skills, in addition to offering a variety of classes from coding class, culinary, CPR, podcasting, and so much more. They also have a variety of courses that you can join as well, dedicated to mothers, fathers, elegant ladies, and raising gents. Check it out today at grindandhustleYouth.square.site. All right, let's start the show. Welcome back to the Elegance Of Nae podcast. I'm your host, Nae, and we have a new lovely lady in the building today. We have the one and only Chiante Hamilton. Yes. How are you?
Doing well. How about you?
Good. How have you been mentally and physically?
Today? Or you mean?
Either today, in general, however you.
I've been in a place of reflection mentally.
Okay.
I would definitely say that. I think more recently, I've just been taking a step back and just sitting with what's happening in the now, being more present. I've been reading a book more recently about being present in the moment. So I think mentally, that's the kind of headspace that I've been in. And then physically, could be back in the gym a little more. I recently got a gym membership, so I think that doing that will give me some
consistency,
yes, and not just like a gym membership, but like taking a class. I do Orange Theory.
Oh, nice.
So having the class and having the instructors and things like that. So I think that's going to give me a little bit more accountability to the process.
To actually go for it. Yeah, yes. I feel you on that. How has the new year been starting out for you so far?
New Year has been great. Leaving out of the last year, coming into this year, spontaneously took a trip to Toronto.
Oh, nice.
So the day before, was sitting in the car headed to Detroit just to be here for the weekend. And I've been talking about going to Toronto for a while now. It was like talking to my husband about it, and he was like, let's just do it.
Yeah, let's just go.
And within an hour, we went and got a rental car, and we already had our bags packed. Like I said, we were coming home anyway.
Yeah.
And kept going, right? Came to Detroit.
And went right back out.
Kept going on out to Toronto. Really enjoyed it. Got a chance to see Niagara Falls, which was breathtaking. Just to see the people, to be in the space. Of course, you've seen photos and all that stuff, but it was something just so beautiful. It was cold.
Yeah.
It was very cold. But definitely got a chance to see that, and then not even understanding the magnitude of the people in Toronto. I didn't realize that 2 million people were in Toronto.
It's crazy. I remember going there last year. I went for my mom's birthday, and for one, that was random too for me because I always had on my bucket list to go to Toronto. I just didn't know when. And I was like, okay, there you go. And as soon as I went, I was like, I want to go back. As soon as I came back home, I was like, we got to go back to Toronto. Like, for real.
The people, the place, we went for a fireworks show. So they do a fireworks show on the harbor every New Year. And it felt like home away from home.
Yes.
That's what it really felt like.
It really did.
I was just
I felt welcomed and stuff. And then they're very clean too.
Very much so. And even they had snow because we hadn't had snow here, around Christmas time. We
ain't had nothing. We just got the aftermath of y'all's
we
forecast.
got a little bit of the blowing snow.
We got a little breeze.
Little flurries. But they had snow, and I just really, it brought me back to of course we're dealing with global warming and other things, but it was like, it just felt very warm and very homely.
Yeah, so. I definitely know the feeling. I was just talking to my friend today about it. I was like, we gotta do a girls trip out there, because I said I was there for, I think, because it went by so fast, even though we were there for some time, and because we went for Vegandale when we were out there, and it was a lot of fun because we was right near the water and stuff. It was lit.
Yeah, the harbor, all of that stuff.
It was lit.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful place to be.
Yes.
So, shout out to the people in Toronto.
Absolutely, for sure. Now let's start from the beginning. So, are you born and raised from Detroit?
Born and raised from Detroit, west side of Detroit, 7 Mile, Evergreen area.
Okay.
My family still lives there, and went to elementary school in the community. Went to Pitcher Elementary, Ludington Middle School, and from there just have always been coming back. Of course, went away for school and stuff like that, but came back.
Nice. So how were you as a kid? Like, were you a very social butterfly, or were you more so introverted, like you were to yourself?
Very social. You know, it was those kids that are in school and they're like they talk too much in class. That was me. That was me, and now I get paid to do so. So
Right.
you know, so like, but thinking about like just very social,
Mhm.
very outgoing. Um, as a child, I did watch the news quite a bit
Mhm.
because for whatever reason, like I was like, oh, my parents aren't doing this thing, like, and I feel like this is important to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I often found myself watching the news
Mm.
and judge shows and things like that to keep myself preoccupied. I have one other sibling, which
Mhm.
is younger than myself, so
Okay.
finding activities for us to do. I used to be like playing judge in the house and judge and jury. So
Mhm.
um,
Making games with
making games,
that playful energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So just a I did grow up a lot around a lot of older people.
Mhm.
Like my church and pastor and all of them were significantly older. So I
Mhm.
feel like I have a bit of an old soul too.
Oh yeah,
So
it's always good to be in that atmosphere because
yes,
it builds a certain character of you.
absolutely. And you appreciate it so much more later in life.
Absolutely.
And you know, like you don't understand it when you're younger, but now that I'm older, I'm like, I'm just so very grateful. You know, they had me in there listening to Al Green and to, you know, sitting me at the table and having conversations
Yeah.
because it makes me, you know, do it for my cousins and, you know,
Mhm.
do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, because I feel the same way as far as that goes. Like I always say, looking back, that I was able to grow up and having that musical soul energy,
Yes.
especially since I know so much music back from like, oh, I think the latest that I listened to one song was in 1970, probably. I
Hmm.
was like, that's old, but
That's an era though.
yeah, it
And
was.
it's interesting enough that music lasts a lifetime.
Yes.
Like I don't
All of
know.
those in from 70s all the way up to 90s to the early 2000s are all
Yes.
classics compared to, no
And I don't
offense, but
know.
nowadays,
Yeah, I don't know
you
if we gonna
know.
have some classics. You know, I don't know what we'll be listening
Yeah.
to when we get to that age. But
Yeah.
for us to be still listening to like Anita Baker, you know,
Yeah.
um, Luther Vandross, just all of
Yeah.
these people,
Sade, yeah.
Sade, people that we still listen to, you know, decades later. It's
Yeah.
just like the song just came out.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh. It's like
especially,
falling in love all over again just with music. And music is like, for me, I always say, because I think I added music to either like music therapy, because music can
mm-hmm,
really be therapy,
mm-hmm.
or you can just escape with music, or I say music is a part of like a love language for me, because I'm like, if you can vibe with me through music,
Yes,
that's a whole different thing.
yes.
Or if I can sing you a song and be like, hey, this is my mood
This
today, and they get it, I'm like, we're meant to be.
because you need that. Because you need that. Like you said, we find different ways to connect, and that's why they put it out
Yes.
here, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're happy, sad, angry, mad, frustrated, it's a song for it. So like,
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, for every emotion. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. So, how were you in high school? Were you still more social, or were you into other things?
Same
Okay.
kid, very social. I went to Cass Tech,
Mhm.
so being downtown, that was a lot of exposure, and
Mhm.
also the array of students that attend Cass Tech, you know,
Mhm.
and also the prestige of the school, right? That's being held to the standard. So
Mhm.
it was just really a great experience. I had several friends and friends I still have today.
Yeah,
So like long
that's
standing
good.
friendships. Yeah, it was always a good time. I was just talking about we actually were just talking about high school because our 10-year reunion is this year.
Oh wow,
So
that's crazy.
tell me about it.
That means time really be flying.
Time,
Like,
yes, time
ooh,
is here and gone, and before you know it, you know.
yes, that's
And
true.
it's just really nice because I won class Old Soul in
Mm,
high school.
that's
So it's
crazy.
interesting how like life has continued to carry itself the way that it has. So I'm
Mm.
just really grateful for those all those pivotal years.
Mhm. Yep, I definitely agree with you on that. So how was the transition for you when you went to high school through college?
The transition for me, I was a first generation. I am a first generation college graduate.
Mhm.
So going through and doing the FAFSA and having that experience, being the first person to do it, it was pretty hard. Like trying to
Mhm.
navigate that space. We also didn't have like a computer at home, so I had to go to a library. That I had to,
Yeah.
and you know, like trying to get all of the documents and the um, things that you need. So security number, your mama's information, your daddy's
Yeah.
information. Like
I didn't even realize how many steps fast food really like have
yes,
until you really are in that moment. You're just
yes,
like, it's a lot.
Right.
Because I
Like,
remember I had to have my mom be on the phone with the instructor, and my mom be like, my mom understood it, but
right.
my daddy's like, hey, you need that much? Like,
Yes.
I gotta go back and
I
get
gotta
this
find my
statement, that
paperwork. And
statement. He's like, oh Lord,
yep.
that's a lot going on. So yeah, I get that because that's a lot.
It is.
That's a
It is. So
lot.
that was high school. Like it was just really figuring it out, right? Like
Yeah, that's that.
during high school, I worked. Starting at 16, I worked at
Mm,
Wendy's. They took a chance on me. I was the youngest employee they had ever hired.
mm.
But they could tell
It was meant to be in that
it was
moment.
meant to be in that moment. It was
Yeah,
something I really needed, not because I wanted to work, because I just wanted, like things, right? But like it
yeah,
was for my necessities. Like
yeah.
as you get older, of course, you realize what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
You realize what you need, what you're not exposed to, and all of those things. So
Yeah,
that's really where I got my grounding from. I learned so much about myself. Even the people at Wendy's, I still am in
mm.
communication with today.
That's cool.
They talk to me about their kids and how they've grown and things like that.
Aw,
So they know
yeah.
me since I was a baby. So for
Mm-hmm.
them to now see me as an adult and on the other side of that, that curve,
Mm.
um, it's a great experience.
Yeah.
So
So, what did you go to college for? What was your major?
criminal justice. I have a bachelor's in criminal justice with a double minor in sociology and communications. So
Nice.
yeah, focusing on, like I said, since I was 8, I've
Mm-hmm.
been playing judge at home. So carried that on throughout high school with human resources, and then
Yeah.
now into college, um, having a criminal justice background and
Mm-hmm.
also understanding what was going on in my own community.
Yeah.
Like I said, oftentimes seeing the police, but not understanding the process and
Mm-hmm.
just all of those things. So just making sure that I took the opportunity to learn, engage, and grow
Yeah.
as I was away in school. So
Okay. And what really inspired you to go in that particular field, though? Have you ever remembered what inspired you?
I think, like I said, it was 8. I've been on the same track since I was 8, so it was so long ago. I
Yeah.
think that for me, it was for you to change the system, you have to be a part of it and learn it.
Mm.
Um, a lot of things were happening around me in my environment
Yeah.
that I didn't quite understand. People were being arrested, narcotics, just all those things,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that there is a system that people have to go through.
Mm.
So for me, it was like, how do I learn the system, understand the system, and figure out how I want to impact the system?
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to. So that's really where it all started for me. That was
Okay.
my beginning.
That's good. And how was the whole process of leaving college into your full-blown adulthood life?
It was.
Like,
It
was
was
it a major transition?
I think for me, um, I did know a lot of people in community. So
Mm.
coming to college, I built a network,
Mm.
one on campus, but also outside of campus. So I
Mm-hmm.
joined the Charles A. Pratt Bar Association, which is the only Black bar association in the county of Kalamazoo. And
Mm.
from that, was able to build relationships. So I joined that when I was a first year student. I had never
Okay.
had a first year student do that,
Wow.
but I knew if I wanted to make it through college, I needed a support system.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know who it was going to be, but I was like, just like you have at home, you have your church family, you have
Mm-hmm.
whoever. I was like, I have to find my community
Yeah.
here. So in that transition, it wasn't as shocking as I thought it was going to be,
Mm-hmm.
because I had so many people that were older than me that were guiding me and already doing having mentorship
Yeah.
and having that relationship over time. So just really cultivating those relationships. Because of them, a lot of the times I was able to get jobs, and decided to stay a little bit longer after graduation just because of the relationships that I had built, the community that I had created. I was the first Black woman to be a student body president
Mm.
at Western, so that was such an interesting experience for me too. Um, Being able to, one, learn from people in community that are from that community. The Pratt Bar,
Mm-hmm.
most of the people are from Kalamazoo, so they were
Yeah.
able to give me insight as to what the community has to offer, who they really are. They're like, when you're in college, you're pretty sheltered.
Yeah.
You go to class, you go home, you might have
Your
like
usual
clubs.
routine after a while.
Yeah, you go to a
Yeah.
couple, clubs and things like that, but you don't really know the community.
Yeah.
Um,
That plays a huge factor,
yes,
especially in your character too, of how
yes,
you carry yourself or what groups you choose to be around or how you communicate to others, that plays a huge factor too.
Yeah. So for me, it was a smooth transition.
Mm.
The Kalamazoo was also opening up a Kalamazoo defender's office,
Mm.
which was defending clients. I had worked in the prosecutor's office during internships here in Detroit and also in
Mm.
Kalamazoo, but wanted to make sure I understood the defense side as well. I think
Mm.
for me personally, I felt like to be a well-rounded individual, you should just know all sides.
Yeah.
So just taking that opportunity, since they were the first one to be opening in the state of Michigan, I thought it was a unique opportunity, and
That's
it timed
nice.
out just really well for me. So I ended up staying. Uh, I think I got that job probably like 5 or 6 months after graduation.
Wow, that's dope.
So
It shows how your characteristics and how you push yourself. That I feel like that comes with your social butterfly territory.
yes,
And if it wasn't for that, the avenues that we build without even realizing we're building them over time,
yes, and
because
not
it
even,
plays out.
like you said, not even knowing like what adding a brick every day,
Oof.
and not even knowing like you're gonna end up in a minute with a house, right? Like
Yeah.
at some point you will end up with a house, but like adding to that, like because I never would have expected the people that like I said, I had this relationship with them maybe 4 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
but for them to be supporting me outside of
Yeah.
college, I was expecting the college support, right?
Yeah.
That was my ask.
Mm-hmm.
But now into my adulthood, writing letters of recommendation, you
Mm-hmm.
know, bringing up my name in rooms that I had never even stepped into. So
That is so big. That is so big right there.
yes,
Especially, yeah, that's just big because that just shows how genuine and wholesome and pure you are with how you carry yourself, and it just shows that your impact on others can grow abundantly.
yes.
So I definitely, yeah, I feel you on that. Hey guys, it's shout out break time. We want to give our love and support to the beautiful Chiante with the company she works for called Society for History and Racial Equity, also known as SHARE. SHARE has a dual mission of educating the community of the importance of our region's African American heritage and fostering connections and conversations on race and providing awareness of racism and the broad societal benefits of its elimination. They engage in the research and documentation of the history of African Americans in Kalamazoo, as well as acting as a clearinghouse for information on activities and services in our region that center on racial equity. If you would love to find out more, check it out at sharekazoo.org. That is SHAREKAZOO.org. Also, she has a blossoming and upcoming podcast called All Grown Up. It is a thought-provoking podcast that fearlessly dives into the complex and often overlooked aspects of adulthood. Find out more in the description down below. All right, back to the show. So you mentioned, so I want to know, where did you meet your husband? Like how or when did you meet your plus
Husband,
one?
yeah. We don't know. Funny enough, we until now we didn't have an anniversary.
Really?
No
It really
anniversary.
be like that.
I was like,
Did y'all start off as friends?
we were in like friend groups, like
Oh, okay.
different friend groups.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the earliest memory I think that he said he had of me was, like I said, I mentioned that I was a student body president, and I think I was doing a speech somewhere.
Yeah.
And he said like he saw me doing this speech, and he was like, oh, like I got to get to know her, or like, oh, she's somebody I should know. That's our earliest like memory of it. But
Oh, wow.
I do know that a lot of my friends around me were like telling him like, oh, we're going out to this, or we're doing this.
Oh, so they was kind of gearing it up. Yeah.
So he could pop
Shout
up to
out to
different
friends.
things, So my bridesmaids actually in the wedding.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, a lot of that behind the scenes happened that I just wasn't aware of. So he would just show up to different events and things like that. So
oh, that's
and
cool.
from then to now, we still locked in. So
That's awesome. How long have you guys been together in the whole?
7 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, 7 years, but married 5 months. So
that's cool. Yeah, that was recent.
Yep, more recent. So
that's awesome. Congrats on
Thank
that
you.
as well.
Thank you.
I can't wait for you guys, your journey and everything, seeing how you guys evolve and helping each other grow and stuff like that. So I love
It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey.
Absolutely.
But excited for the journey, like you said.
Absolutely. I think that's dope. Now in the beginning, you pulled out of our fishbowl,
Yes.
and you chose fatherhood. Now, how important is fatherhood in either the community or in general as a whole?
Yeah.
How important is that?
I think the father's role in any household is absolutely necessary.
Mm,
Absolutely necessary. And I know that, especially in the Black household, we have dealt with so much strife around that and
mm-hmm.
the breaking up of the family, but they set the tone. They
Absolutely.
they set the tone, like, and whether that's like, people that believe in what have you, like even
Mm-hmm.
having, something to believe in God and all of those things as your
Yeah.
own father.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's super important for a community to know and engage
Mm.
with the fatherhood role. I think it's we just I was just thinking about Fatherhood Network, which
Mm.
is in Kalamazoo, and I just spoke with them not too long ago about the father's role in the household, and they just did like a father-daughter dance or
Oh
father,
wow.
and they're changing the name of it because, of course, like every child doesn't have their father in their lives,
Yeah.
um, but even to acknowledge, right, like that
Mm-hmm.
whoever that significant man is in your life
Mm-hmm.
that plays that role for you, having
Yeah.
them be a part of that experience. So
Mm.
yeah, it's an interesting, and I don't have children,
Mm.
so I haven't had that experience, one to
Yeah.
one. But um, even my own relationship with my father, it's
Mm.
been a great one,
Mm.
right? I think we've been figuring it out. Like I think when you, as you grow older and as you figure out where life will take you and all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
you learn to forgive.
Yeah.
You learn that you try to do the best for the next generation, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you think that is,
Yeah.
and hope for the best and have those discussions as things go and progress.
Absolutely. I feel like, well, also before I get into that, what was the first thing that came to mind when I said fatherhood? Was it that?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was. It was. It was. It was. I was just thinking about like my granddad.
Oh,
Like I was thinking about like granddads and like just the
yeah.
men in my life was the first thing I thought of.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I don't think of it as just one person because I feel like it takes a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
So like all the men, like it just came to my mind, like all the men that have played a part in my life.
Yeah. And that speaks wonders too. Even if you don't have a direct like you said, like your father in your life, your
Hmm.
personal father, at least like we have our grandparents and we
Yes.
have our grandfathers
Yes.
or stepfathers that's been in our life since
Yes.
day one, or even sometimes our cousins or uncles can play a part if
Yes.
they're older and they understand, and they can just be there and just have that mental support for the young men or women.
Women. Yes.
Because sometimes us as ladies, we need to know what a male figure is supposed to be like, and
Absolutely.
sometimes we have great examples, sometimes we don't, but once we get old enough to understand which is right and wrong, we understand like, oh, that was a good father figure in my life,
Hmm.
oh, this was a good experience, oh, I
Yep.
was grateful to have so and so.
So and so.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like I feel like that plays a huge part, especially the mentorship behind it too.
Yes.
In a sense, it's like it's awesome,
Yes.
and the love behind it too.
Yes. Yes.
So I feel like, yeah, that goes a long way. So now, how is it? How important is fatherhood for us community?
Mm. Like I said, I think it's pivotal.
Mm.
It's pivotal, especially I know that even today, right? We need fathers, we need both parents, right, in the
Yeah.
household because the way that we grew up then and now, like technology and everything, how it's advanced so quickly,
Mm-hmm.
you need both. You need all hands on deck.
Absolutely.
Like you literally need all hands on deck. So, um, yeah, I think today, like I talked about, like the Fatherhood Network, I just think that even fathers need a network of people and support
Absolutely.
because none of us know. We can't all get it right, and
Yeah.
there's no one way to get it right. So to be able to bounce ideas off of people, to be able to have discussions with people about, what's working for you, what's not working for you, what could I be
Yeah.
doing better, how can I show up? And oftentimes, like you mentioned, like you're
Mm-hmm.
not only the father for your own kids,
You
you're the
got
father
other
for the
kids,
neighbor,
right?
the neighbor's kids, or your church family. Like
Yeah.
you have other
So
times,
many
so
connections
many
and
connections.
relationships,
Yes.
and yeah, of course, mothers, of course, play a big role as well. But well, I feel like the father, parents in general, plays major roles in your child's life because you're the first examples
Yes.
that's
First
embedding
teacher.
into your kid,
Yeah.
so or into your child. So, and it's crazy because I'm actually for my you from a mentor program, we're
Mm,
actually starting a course this year for motherhood and fatherhood, and we're helping single moms with just having a sisterhood support.
absolutely.
If you're a new mom and you need a mother mentor, we have mother mentors
Yeah,
here that give you the advice that you need. Same with the fathers or single fathers that are out here. If they
absolutely.
like, man, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm a single dad. I'm by myself. I got a newborn kid or I got a
Mm-hmm.
toddler. I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have father mentors that you can come talk to, that you can
Amazing.
have a brotherhood with. And we just released the sign up, but I'm trying to branch out and push it more to get people to really,
Know about it.
sign up and know about it, because I want people to be be seen and helped, get the support they want.
And need, like you said, because I think we
Yeah,
have a plethora of resources for women, right? Single
yeah,
mothers and what
but the
have you.
fathers need it too.
They often don't have any resources,
Yeah,
So just to be able to give that, and even to be a sounding board, right? Even if this is a
yeah.
place for information, I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's amazing. So kudos to you all for doing that. That's
Thank you. Yeah, I
needed in our
appreciate that.
community.
Yeah, and then not only that, we also, so it's four courses. So it's the motherhood, fatherhood, and then we
Mm.
also have raising gents and raising and elegant ladies. So
Mm.
we helping young ladies, properly um prepare themselves
Yes,
and present themselves wisely. The same with the raising gents, they need a proper male energy mentor that just
support.
can support them and help them and know how to talk to the ladies respectfully, how to do a
Yeah.
little bit of chivalry, even though nowadays, sadly say, I don't know who started the little simp thing, but that's like, it's crazy, like simping, like of how to explain it, just it's I'm not explaining it
That's
to
okay.
be
It's
more
okay.
specific, but yeah, it's crazy how we got to that point
Yes,
now.
yes,
But hey, we are here, and hopefully each one of those courses run this course very well.
yes.
And
And adds to the community's needs and
absolutely,
address them. Yeah.
absolutely, that's why I'm all here for it. But also in the beginning, I
Yes.
had you choose a number between 1 through 10,
Yes.
and you chose
Lucky number
8.
8.
And number 8 was asking, what made you want to come on the podcast to tell your story?
Hmm. I believe that it's just super important. A lot of us have lived experiences
Mm-hmm.
that we don't even talk about,
Absolutely.
right? And for me, it's always if I can share my story and encourage someone else,
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it for you. If I can do it for free, like as much as I do it, I'm like I just want to make sure that it gets out there because oftentimes you do feel like you're alone, right?
Yeah.
Like as a first generation college student, I felt alone on this island, right?
Mm.
Like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Even the people around me, they were older, but they had not gone to college.
Mm.
So that was really hard. So being able to just share, give information, like oftentimes I'm often being the first at something, like the first in my job to do something or the first to do whatever,
Which is great.
which is great,
It's great.
but it's hard.
It is.
So like breaking those glass ceilings,
Yeah.
and helping people to know that like, yes, it's hard, but there's a village of people that can support you. There's a
Absolutely.
village out here that if you need resources, how can I, support? Because even us,
Yeah.
connecting at the
Mm-hmm.
event that we were at, just how do we stay in connection? How do we grow? Because I think like you
Yeah.
talk about networking and things like that.
Yeah.
We go to these events, we
Network, branch out.
we do our work or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
We branch out and then we leave, but we don't contact each other. We
Yeah.
don't stay connected.
Yeah.
So that's what I really wanted to come here and just make sure. One, I was supporting you as we had as we had our conversation at our
Yeah.
event, but at the event, but wanted to just make sure that I was being the olive branch and putting that out there, putting my information out there,
Yeah.
so that someone could reach out if they ever need some support.
Absolutely. And I love that. And I appreciate you for coming on and still, because that was our first time meeting.
Yes.
That's the crazy part too. And I just also just appreciate it because you were into like, oh yeah, come and
Sure.
just be a support.
Yeah.
And so I definitely appreciate you for that. And yeah, thank you.
Of course. Of course.
So before we close, do you have any questions or do you have any questions? I'll start there.
No questions, I don't think, but I do appreciate one the opportunity.
Absolutely.
I think that it's just amazing that you are allowing people to come in and have a voice
Yeah.
and just lifting up voices in community, which I think is just super important. So I guess I do have a question. What inspired you to start the podcast?
That's so funny. I just got asked this too.
Interesting.
But I started this podcast. Well, I didn't even think of a podcast until last year, and because I was having my one-on-one Bible study with myself and God, of course, and I was asking her, I was like, I want to get to know more people's stories. I
Mm-hmm.
want to get to know more of your children. Can you guide me to them? And it didn't dawn on me, oh, start a podcast.
Yeah.
No, it was like I was hosting a podcasting event
Okay.
last year, and people were asking, oh, when you gonna start a podcast? I was like, all right, let me give it a try.
Yep.
So ever since then, I had my season 1 and
Okay.
wound up getting Google certified, and then wound up pushing it. Now we in season 2, and
Yep.
wound up overly booking. Now we got season 3 geared up.
Come on.
So I'm just happy, excited, and I
Yes.
can't wait to get to a point where I'm at 20 seasons or
Yes.
something, and I got
We
a
speak that.
you know
Yes.
stage or something, a little
Yes.
bit more broader or whatever.
Yes.
Because I don't narrow myself down. I always think broadly, and then make sure it keeps me to push myself consistently to it. So,
Yes.
but yeah, I always want to know. I was like, I really genuinely want to know people's stories, and I don't want to know just like the audience want to know, like, who are you?
Yes.
And for example, that I always say is, if I ever come across, like, come in the library and come across a book with your name on it, what's the first few pages that I see?
Mm.
Like, what's in your book? Who are you?
Mm.
Or if I'm walking down the street and I come across a storefront with your name on it, what's on the outside? What am I seeing through the glass window?
Yeah.
And I come in this store? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I could come in. What's in the first entrance? What's the first few things that's your personality? Okay, cool. Okay, I see it's a back door. What's in the storage room? What's back here? A deeper dive into it.
Yes.
So that's why that's kind of how I narrate it, and I just been going with that.
That's amazing. And our ancestors would be proud.
Absolutely.
Like, I was just thinking about, as you were talking, I was thinking about the shirt that I have on about, like, ain't I Ida Baker and Ida Wells and Harriet Tubman, just thinking
Yeah.
about, and I wear this to bring them into this space.
Absolutely.
Because they have carried, like you said, so much, and they have such amazing stories.
Absolutely.
And in that time, of course, when they were doing whatever they were doing, they didn't think like they would be, this mogul that we look at today. I'm sure Madam C.J. Walker, she didn't think that she would be who she, the first billionaire.
Exactly.
But to now, it's just a gentle reminder that, like, your day to day, whatever you're doing, as long as you're doing it with good intention,
absolutely,
people will see your good works.
Yeah.
So,
because that's always with me. Like, I make sure I be my unapologetic self.
Yes.
And just be my wholesome self. So I don't try to put up a front. I don't try to act different. That's why I was able to be so transparent with my first few episodes, on my solo episodes for season 1, and speaking about the struggles of, grief, and how it is going through those obstacles, but coming out of it like, you're okay.
Yes.
You're good.
Yes.
Because we go through things. Life be life.
Yes.
So yeah.
And it's topics that people aren't talking about, right? Like,
yeah,
it's things
the hard topics, the real nitty gritty of, like,
this is a we talk about emotions, right? This is one of our emotions,
absolutely,
that will come up at some point in your life. And sometimes people, if they haven't had that conversation, they don't know how to deal with it.
Absolutely,
they don't understand what it is, right? Like, and people will lose their mind sometimes because they haven't had that conversation or haven't felt this emotion. So to be having, like you said, those hard conversations, is super important.
And it's crazy because, like, my second episode, I had to say a disclaimer, like, hey, this episode a little deep.
No,
so
really?
you can handle it.
Yeah, let me stop you now.
We're gonna stop you right here. and crazy part is, it's like, it's a 3-parter. So, and some people gave me, like, some really good feedback, whether it was like, oh, you're a good storyteller, or it was like, they was like, dang, it's juicy, or like, oh, I didn't know you. Some people that know it, they was like, I never knew you went through that.
And that's it.
And I was like, yeah, because who gonna just up and just talk about these aren't easy topics to discuss, so that's really, And then once I saw that feedback, I was like, cool,
keep it going,
let's go,
let's get to it. Yep. That was just the surface. So.
Yeah, we just really scratching the surface, like barely even getting deeper into it. So that's the crazy part. So do you have any advice before we close that you would like to give to people?
Do it scared. That's the first thing that came to mind when you just said that. So do it scared. Oftentimes we don't know what we're doing, or if we're doing the right thing, or should I do it? Just do it, right? Because then if that's something you don't want to do.
Absolutely.
If you've done it, right? So I think doing it scared is what I got for people. That's all. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Is like, do it scared.
Awesome. So just so you guys know, wait, first, are we gonna do a part 2?
Sure, if you want
to. Okay. So for those, that'll be, yes, thank you. I love it. They will love it too. Awesome. So we guys make sure to look out for our part 2 on our Patreon or subscribe so you can check that out and look into our deeper dive into this episode. And make sure to follow our lovely guest, and we'll be putting her information down below in the description and in the bio. Until next time, see ya.
See ya.
It's a wrap. It was great seeing you. We're so happy you joined us for this episode. Can't wait to see you next time. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And check out our information down below in the description. See you till next time. Bye.